What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the new Jaguar F-Type P450. It features a 5-liter supercharged V8 engine under the bonnet, power goes to the rear wheels, and if you've been following my channel for a while, you know that when I drive a convertible, it has to be top down. But when I'm looking around now, that might not be a possibility 15 minutes from now. So without further ado, let's get into today's video. It's a big day for me because I can happily announce today that from now on you're going to be able to see lots of Jaguar and Land Rover cars on the channel. I've been working on this for quite a while and it's finally happened, and I'm very happy about it. Of course it starts raining as soon as I have to do a walk around. So there you go, I'm doing it via voiceover. Now, the F-Type, believe it or not, this car has been around for 8 years now. It's incredible how well the F-Type's design has aged over time. Today we're driving a facelifted car, and Jaguar took that concept quite literally, as nearly all changes are at the front. It features new headlights, a new grille, and the whole front end of the car is quite different from the old one. Honestly, I prefer the previous design. I feel the car had more character and it somehow fitted better with the Jaguar theme, but that's just me. Spec-wise, this P450 model replaces the old supercharged V6, and in its place Jaguar has fitted a wonderful supercharged 5-liter V8 engine under the bonnet, which is spectacular, as you'll be able to see and hear later in this video. It can produce 450 horsepower, 580 Newton meters of torque, and it can accelerate the car from 0 to 100 km per hour in just 4.6 seconds, just 0.2 slower than a BMW M2 competition, a car that's more than 100 kilograms lighter than the Jaguar. Now, I'll be honest, this is a pretty boring spec. It's basically black on black, but I do think it's a very pretty car, roof up or roof down. And it's quite a small car too, actually. It's only a couple of centimeters wider and longer than a VW Golf, so it's quite easy to live with and quite easy to park around town. On the inside, you're greeted with a perfect driving position. Seats are super supportive, you sit quite low in the car, and everything seems to surround the driver. I quite like that. I also like the fact that this car has actual buttons on the center console instead of moving everything to the infotainment system. Granted, there's still some configuration you can do to the driving modes on the screen, but that's pretty much it. Seats are heated and electrically operated, of course, and so is the steering wheel. And right behind it, you can find the F-Type's digital instrument cluster, which is basically a screen that's fully customizable. You can have only one dial in the middle if you want, you can have the standard 2-dial setup with the rev counter and the speedometer, and you can even have the full map displayed on there. All in all, it's a very nice place to be in, materials are very good all around, but it is starting to show its age a little bit. Driving this car around feels very civilized. I was expecting a bit more of a hooligan, if I'm honest, but according to the folks that drove the previous generation, it looks like Jaguar decided to tame down this car a little bit, especially in the exhaust side of things. Below 3000 RPM, you can barely hear any sound coming from the back, no matter what driving mode you're in. Go past that point and this car completely transforms, and that exhaust at the back, well, you need to hear it for yourselves. Go beyond 3000 RPMs and you'll be able to experience this very addictive, instant throttle response from the engine. And if you listen very carefully, you'll be able to hear some supercharged whine as well. In an era where all manufacturers downsize and go electric, Jaguar has decided to give this car a proper swan song. What a delight it is to drive this F-Type. And this car is another one of those rare occurrences where the convertible works better than the standard coupe version. It's a GT car first and foremost. It looks great top down and top up. You can obviously hear it better top down. And well, it doesn't really take away too much from the driving experience by having a less stiffer chassis. I'm a massive fan of Sam from the YouTube channel Seen Through Glass, and to be quite honest, I never really understood his obsession with the F-Type. And I guess that's because I haven't really seen an F-Type on the road in Stockholm in the past 3 or 4 years. But after experiencing this car, especially with the V8 under the bonnet, I can only conclude that Sam was right. This car is absolutely incredible. And that's mostly down to the fact that the F-Type is one of those rare occasions where a car oozes with character. It has presence, it has charisma, and that for me makes it stand out from the crowd. Yes, there are cars that are faster to 100 km per hour, there are cars that are quicker around the track, but the F-Type, being quite old school in the way it's built, is not keen on playing the numbers game. It's more about how it makes you, the driver, feel, rather than how fast it's going to take you from point A to point B. The engine is part of that, of course. It's an extremely special power unit. It offers instant throttle response, linear power delivery, and it sounds amazing. Another thing Sam got right was during his trip with Tony from Gravelwood and Paul from Supercharged of London. He mentioned during a podcast that he couldn't really properly enjoy the F-Type while trying to follow Tony in his 718 GT4. But as soon as he slowed down and started enjoying this car for what it is, he fell in love all over again. I mean, those are not his exact words, but that's what he was trying to get across. And after driving this car myself for the past 5 days or so, he's right on that one as well. This is a very capable car. It handles well, it's fast, and it's quite fun to throw around some bends. And you can do that all day long. But that's not what the F-Type convertible was built for. This car was meant to be driven on long journeys, mostly top down. It's meant to be a comfortable cruiser that puts a smile on your face no matter how fast you're going. And it's also supposed to be fun to drive, but Jaguar never intended for this car to be a precise B-road blaster. But there's a problem, maybe the only problem this car has, and that is the 911. This F-Type's base price in Sweden is around 116,000 euros, 135k US. You wanna know how much the Carrera convertible costs? Correct. It's exactly the same. And I know the 911 only has a 6-cylinder engine, it doesn't sound as good and it's not as pretty as the Jaguar, but even in its base form it's quicker than the P450 and by the looks of things more desirable. I've driven a few 911s so far and I really enjoy driving them. And as you might know, if you've been following me for a while, I'm quite the Porsche fanboy. But this V8 F-Type has really got me good. And if it were around 10k less expensive than the Porsche, I would rather have this. It's just as fun to drive, it's smaller, it's nimbler, and its soundtrack can only be matched by the GT3 from the Porsche lineup. But that's been it for today's video, my friends. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Please make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and stay subscribed for plenty more videos to come.